Does anybody else find Square Enix confusing right now? These days, all I hear is weird news, weird articles coming about them making decisions that, why would you even do that? Like, it's been a long few years. Like, I think it's been about 5 to 10 years of just confusing releases, confusing expectations, confusing business strategies. It's been a lot of weird stuff. It's just so much that I can't even delve deep into like how confusing all this can really be. Let's go back in the day to when I think kind of all started for me personally was when Tomb Raider 2013 released, right? And it was called a failure at one point. It did not meet sales expectations. And everyone was like, how high were your expectations? Tomb Raider was a reboot of Tomb Raider, and Tomb Raider was at that point a legacy franchise at that point. So to expect that game to come out the blue and just be a blockbuster hit was kind of crazy. But it did turn out that after a year, it did actually meet those expectations. But they were expecting that to happen immediately. And that was the confusing part to everyone. Then it just slowly gets quiet, you know? They're just releasing games, some failure, some not. Some, you know, that I love, like Sleeping Dogs, and some that I can see issues with, like Hitman Absolution. You know, but they still sell, but not to their expectations. At least for Sleeping Dogs, at least. And then in recent years, right, we get releases like Babylon's Fall. Platinum Games made it, but the decision to even make this game and think, you know, it was going to be a success is kind of crazy. I just think gaming is in a different place than what Square Enix thinks it is. I personally look at Square Enix as a legacy publisher because they don't really have that many new or fresh IP that's really garnering any attention from new gamers. Like, I can't really think of them. And plus, they sold out most of their Western franchises to the Embracer Group, who eventually started firing people, Embracer, and then let go of Ion. Thank God they let them keep it. But I still don't understand why they just decided to let go of all their Western IPs. Like, those were the issue. Like, those were the big issues in their company. No. Because you keep saying when new games come out from the Final Fantasy franchise, it did not meet sales expectations. Some people want to say because they're exclusives. No, I just think they mismanage their games a lot more often than we think. A lot more often than we think. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth didn't meet expectations. Final Fantasy 16 is a failure. Both great games that I freaking love. It's just mind-boggling that they put these high expectations on these games like this. You can't keep doing the same thing every so often. Every few years, every time a new release comes out, and they be like, dang, we failed. Expectations not being met. Leadership needs to be fired. This is more of a leadership issue than a developer issue because these games are getting highly reviewed. They're still selling, but the expectations are so high because the publisher wants more money, obviously. And then we get into Square Enix business strategy. Square Enix president was constantly, and I do mean constantly, talking about AI and NFTs. In a newsletter in January 2024, he said, I believe that generative AI has the potential not only to reshape what we create, but also may fundamentally change the process by which we create. I think AI can be useful in some aspects. It should be nowhere near creativity. When it comes to art, anything like that, hell no. Making the process go smoother, meaning tools that are more tedious than anything else, that's not really creative, but you have to get it done to get to the next step of creativity. Sure, I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with smoothing out processes to get straight to the creative bag, right? But he was talking about none of that. He wanted to make sure that AI was in almost every aspect of the creative process. Hell no. Hell no. And then his love for NFTs, my God. And it happened at the wrong time too. Like, why does he fall in love with NFTs when NFTs are dying? And he fell in this sort of NFTs because he fell in love with them and think they're so great and so profitable. There's this NFT game they released that I never heard of. What's it called? Symbiogenesis, an NFT project, right? Now apparently this game is just like a spot the difference type of game, locate the item type thing, and it's just a big map where you zoom in and zoom out and collect NFTs on the map. No, that sounds ass. It's a browser game too. It's no, I don't. Well, who wanted this? Who wanted this besides people who are deeply invested into NFTs like I think the president is? No, the general public does not care about NFTs anymore. And he dove into that super late, and now he got to deal with the consequences. I really just feel like Square Enix has had unfortunate misses when it came to games like Guardians of the Galaxy, which is an amazing game, Sleeping Dogs, Deus Ex. You know, these games that are amazing games, but they did not meet the mark that they probably expected. And then they just scrapped everything and then sold all the other studios. Problem is, right, the same thing keeps happening with their beloved historic franchise that's still, being ported and released to this day. And then you look at the list of titles that they have coming out or released in the past 5 years, and you can see that a lot of these are just niche games that the general people are not interested in. We have games like, of course, like Babylon's Fall, then all these Final Fantasy port, and then the Mana series, which is like a beloved cult classic series, but they never really sold that well. The Saga franchise, you got huge misses and fails like Balan Wonderland and Babylon's Fall again. I keep saying Babylon's Fall. Chocobo GP, like who asked for a Chocobo racing game? I don't know, but that exists. Now, Stranger in Paradise, Stranger in Paradise is one of those games that you can love or hate, and I love that game. I love that game. The gameplay is so fun. The characters are so over the top that I fell in love with it, even though it's so easy. That gameplay is fun though. Chrono Cross, Live Alive, which is good, but come on, like those games are very niche. I really believe that Square Enix right now as a publisher is becoming more niche and niche as time comes on. And I think the trend is going to go on as long as Square Enix does not invest in any new IPs. Now, I personally had some enjoyment with Forspoken, but that was a huge failure on their part. Huge failure on their part. They released Foam Stars earlier this year to, middling reviews, and now it's gonna go free to play. And we're gonna see how that goes. But Foam Stars is a perfect example of them not doing their due diligence when it comes to promoting their game, putting it in people's hand immediately, and understanding the market of games like that. That game should have been free to play. The live service aspect of gaming is hard to do and hard to keep up. So I understand why they didn't want to keep up with that. But my problem with that is that game already has season passes. So it kind of already has the whole aspect of a live service game without it being a full live service game. And a lot of games are doing that to this day, and that's why they're failing. They're not choosing the path. Choose the path, and then backtracking, because recently he did backtrack the AI argument of using AI in the creative process after backlash, I'm pretty sure, because AI is still shunned upon when it comes to creative art. Like they need some fresh blood, like new people in there or something, new people working on different games, not just niche RPGs. You can do something different, but that's why I find it weird that they sold the Western studios, because they were the ones doing something different for them. They sold the IPs as well, but still keeping IPs like Sleeping Dogs. And I'm just so confused about what they want to do with what they have. It'll be a scary time when Square Enix gets bought out or just disappears. And I know that's like, the darkest timeline. But with the way they're talking and the way they're acting, it can happen. But let me know what y'all think. Square Enix is weird. Their games have been great to like, what is happening? What is this? Consistently, like it's all over the place. All over the place. Consistently all over the place. I don't know if that makes sense. They're all over the place and consistently all over the place. But that's it. That's all. I'm out. Peace.